Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs, located in the heart of the walkable Tarpon Springs Historic District and known as the home of the Innes paintings. We are a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. I'm the Reverend Christina Spouty, minister here at UUCTS. I'm glad you are here. I hope you find meaning in today's service. Please consider joining us on Sunday morning when we gather to worship as a community every week, beginning at 10:30 a.m. on Zoom, or drop in for a more personal visit to one of our coffee hours, starting at 11:30 a.m. on Sundays on Zoom. For the summer, our services will be a little bit different than they have been for the rest of this past year. We are participating in basically a big pulpit swap, or a tour of some of our sibling UU congregations. The UU Church of Tarpon Springs is one of 8 congregations participating in this exchange. It gives y'all the chance to get to experience other of our congregation's worship services and provide your worship team with some much-deserved respite from the hard work of churching and ministering in a pandemic as we prepare to return to in-person worship in the fall. I am excited to be sharing these services with you, some provided by cherished colleagues of mine across the country. Some of them are new to me colleagues, and I am excited to get to know them a bit with you as well. Now, let us enter this sacred time with open minds and open hearts.
We begin with words by Erica Hewitt. Let us remember and celebrate this morning that each of our bodies was woven together in the depths of mystery. Cells multiplying, tissues taking form, organs taking up their function, all under the silky cover of skin. Let us gather in reverence for the gift of these bodies, whatever their ages, their shapes, their abilities, and may we know them to be channels of the world coming alive through us. These bodies, these blessings bring the world to life through seeing, taste, hearing, scent, and touch. May we bring to our delicately woven bodies a sense of sacred caretaking. In doing so, let us also be grateful for the embrace of the holy, the presence that creates and sustains life, the mystery that knit together each of our bodies, and the force of love that celebrates our desires. Come, let us worship together.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell the story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stars within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
When we gather together, we light the chalice, a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. The chalice reminds us that we are connected to a much larger religious tradition that stretches out of the past, reaches around the world, and leans into our shared future.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us
Let us enter into a time of prayer and reflection with words by John Saxon. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It calls us in the silence and through the noise and busyness of our daily lives. It calls us in the brightness of the day and the darkness of the night, in times of hope and despair. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It doesn't matter what you call it, for it has no name and has many different names. The Spirit of life, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of compassion, the Spirit of hope, the Spirit of justice. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It is calling to you and to me. It's calling us to greater wholeness, greater connection, greater service, greater love. It's calling us to heal the brokenness within ourselves, in others, and the world. It's calling us to live more deeply. It's calling us to beauty. It's calling us to laugh and dance and sing. It's calling us to live through life's pain and sorrow. It's calling us to live courageously and kindly, to speak our truth in love, to bend the moral arc of the universe towards justice. It's calling us into community. It's calling us into the greater life of all. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. Listen, listen. Listen.
Don't be afraid to care. Leave, but don't leave me. Look around and choose your own route. Long you live and high you fly. Smiles you give and tears you cry. All you touch and all you see.
It's time for the offering for the work and the welfare of this church. Please go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click on the donate button. Or please send your checks to 57 Reed Street. The entire address is right there on your screen. And thank you.
By Gordon McKeeman. How does one address a mystery? Cautiously. Let us go cautiously, then, to the end of our certainty, to the boundary of all we know, to the rim of uncertainty, to the perimeter of the unknown which surrounds us. Reverently. Let us go with a sense of awe, a feeling of approaching the powerful holy whose lightning slashes the sky, whose persistence splits concrete with green sprouts, whose miracles are present in every place and moment. Hopefully, out of our need for wholeness in our own lives, the reconciliation of mind and heart, the conjunction of reason and passion, the intersection of the timeless with time. Quietly. For no words will explain the inarticulate or summon the presence that is always present, even in our absence. But what shall I say? Anything. Any anger, any hope, any fear, any joy, any request, any word that comes from the depth of being addressed to being itself. Or perhaps nothing. No complaint, no request, no entreaty, no thanksgiving, no praise, no blame, no pretense of knowing or of not knowing. Simply be in the intimate presence of mystery, unashamed, unadorned, unafraid. And at the end, say amen.
It was the second time I had one of those experiences. I was counting my cash register at the beginning of my shift. $35 in ones, a bunch of fives, a couple of tens, maybe a 20. A coworker offhandedly asked me a question, something like, "Hey, which way did you come in today?" I started to respond. I rode my bike along the riverway. And as I pictured the river in my mind's eye and the paved bike path, I suddenly shot out of myself and saw the entire city spread out below me. The river winding through the land, the city built on top of pastures, on top of fishing villages, and above me, the blue, blue sky arched above. There were shining, crisscrossing lines above connecting all. Everything. The eternity, the past, the now, and the next. Looking back towards the planet, I was not sure what home was, or what work was, or where those things were in relation to anything else. I had just said that I had ridden my bike along the riverway, but what was riverway? And what was I? And what did it mean to go someplace when everything was everywhere? And then suddenly I wondered, where am I? Am I lost? And then I was back at the desk and my coworker was walking out the door saying, "See you later." Shaken, I chose an apron and headed out to serve coffee. It was the second time that I had had a transcendent experience, when my consciousness abruptly shifted from regular day-to-day consciousness to something altogether different. I don't remember the first time, but I recognize the feelings and the knowing. The philosopher and psychologist William James called these moments religious experiences. Others have called these spiritual, mystical, or ecstatic experiences. More recently, these flashes of connection have been called peak experiences, or being in the flow. Often these moments include feelings or knowings of complete and utter connection, oneness of all, blissful peace, all-encompassing love, never-ending vastness, or a deep, silent knowing. Often one's sense of self diminishes. Sometimes everything all around seems brighter, shimmering in the connectedness, or more alive than it did before. However you describe or whatever you call these moments, they can be euphoric and may inspire life changes, but they may also be startling or frightening. In his book, After the Ecstasy, The Laundry, How the Heart Grows Wise on the Spiritual Path, Jack Kornfield shares the story of a teacher's experience of a transcendent moment during an extended meditation retreat. The teacher said, "One afternoon, I lay down to meditate in the heat of the day. My eyes closed, and effortlessly, there was an awareness of all the sensations of this new posture. All the perceptions floated by, arising and vanishing like bubbles in soda. I felt myself letting go into this, and the perceptions came even more quickly, as if the universe was rapidly pulsing, now becoming pulses of light like fireflies." Kornfield's teacher continued, "A moment of fear came and went. Then my mind opened and somehow fell down, and all was totally silent. Beyond silence. There was no me, no experience, nothing, no words to put on this, only a knowing. The world rested in an ocean of peace, out of which all appearances arise and vanish. It was stunning," he continued. "I knew the essence of consciousness to be this vast space, and beyond this world, where everything is born, changes, and dies, is this ever-present reality." I deeply appreciate that the Unitarian Universalist tradition, which we all share, draws from many sources, including the direct experience that transcends mystery and wonder, affirmed in all cultures, which moves us into a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. These wondrous moments of connection are the direct experience of mystery, the holy, that which connects all. There is a wide range of these experiences, encompassing monumental, life-altering moments to states of high focus and everything in between. There is nothing unique about these direct experiences of mystery and wonder. They seem to be quite common, even if we don't speak about them very often. Each one of these moments, though common, may be extraordinary for the person experiencing the moment. It seems that human beings have had and sought these mystical encounters throughout time. Some say that the paintings in the caves of Lascaux were an attempt to step outside ourselves into something else. We have been trying to recreate these moments for hundreds of thousands of years through various ecstatic techniques, such as strenuous dancing, chanting, repetitive drumming, fasting, self-inflicted pain, sensory deprivation, meditation, or mind-altering medicines. Over the past 5 centuries, Western culture has gradually marginalized and pathologized these moments of ecstasy and religious experience. These mystical and contemplative branches of many religions where these moments are welcomed were hidden and ostracized. However, we have continued to experience spiritual ecstasy. Many have found deep meaning in these moments of transcending the self and connection to everything. Neuroscience research has shown that during transcendent states, there is a decreased activity in the area of the brain that locates the self in space and distinguishes it from everything else. When information from this part of the brain decreases, the brain can no longer separate the self from the surrounding environment. It is why people feel their sense of self diminish while also feeling connected to everyone and everything around them. Years ago, I inadvertently experienced self-transcendent states in dance clubs. At the time, I thought I was simply having fun with friends, but I also remember feeling connected to all the other people in the club and the whole world. It was only years later when I participated in Sufi zikr, which is a ritualistic, rhythmic chanting and dancing of the names of Allah, guided by a religious leader, that I began to develop a new understanding of my experience dancing in nightclubs. I came to understand that dancing in Western society was a socially acceptable way to experience religious ecstasy. I have come to believe that many of us, raised in white supremacy culture under patriarchy, lost the religious context for self-transcendence when we shunned the mystical branches of religious practice. Passionate religious experience was especially frowned upon by early Unitarians in New England. It wasn't until much later that the Unitarian Universalists welcomed direct religious experience as a source of inspiration. In her blog post, Unleashing the Joy of Transcendent Experience, author and mystical poet Cheryl Eckel wrote, "It is universally accepted that peak experiences are brief, but extremely intense, blissful, meaningful, beneficial experiences of expanded identity and union with the universe." She continues, referring to the work of psychologist Abraham Maslow. She writes that Maslow believed that healthy individuals who have mystical experiences may offer useful and insightful observations that could help us light our own path through the mundane to the transcendent. I often wrestle with a focus on mystical experience and transcending oneself when the world in which we live is filled with oppression, injustice, mass shootings, capitalism, climate destruction, and all the other horrors. How do I balance the need to diminish these social sins with the seemingly self-centeredness of mystical experience? But I wonder if we in Western culture shared our personal mystical experiences with each other, if we talked about what it feels to know that all is one, if we recognized these moments as valid and truthful, I wonder if we might begin to move away from our individualistic outlook into a more inclusive, connected, and communal outlook. If we all knew deep inside with an unshakable certainty that the entire universe is one interdependent experience, might we work to undo the damage we have done? Might we work to care for each other and for the earth? I pray that this is so, for she is us, and we are her. We are the earth. We are of each other. Blessed be.
Now us boundless unexplored. Knowledge, they say, drives wonder from the world. They say it's still the wall of dust ablaze, with marvels at their feet when mountain floors foretell that knowledge one day shall be sold. One day our knowledge shall be
Let us extinguish the flame with these words by Antonia Bell Degato. May we find the courage to revel in the experience of mystery. May we approach the unknown with excitement, even if we can only muster a tiny bit. May we celebrate the curiosity that leads to searching. May we meet ourselves and each other along the way and love us unapologetically. May it be so.
I hope that you found meaning in today's service. Again, I invite you to consider joining us sometime on Sunday morning when we gather for worship as a community. The service starts at 10:30 a.m. on Zoom. You are also welcome to drop into our Zoom room coffee hour any Sunday at 11:30 for friendly conversation. Please refer to our website for more information on how to connect with us on Zoom. If you use the Connect Online button, it will take you directly to any of our activities. We look forward to meeting you.